On the issue of subsidies, it's not just about petroleum, it's about subsidies generally. When you do the analysis on subsidies, what you find out is that the poor don't enjoy the subsidies. It's actually those who don't need the subsidies, who should pay the right price for an item, that end up enjoying the subsidy.
So on that one,
when they enjoy the subsidy, it takes away from the poor.
On that one, you agreed with the Jonathan government. Was part of the analysis they put forward?
Okay, so what happened is very strong stance on the need to remove subsidies, but what had happened with that government was that people saw the removal of subsidy as being the opportunity for government to have more money that was going to end up in corruption. So there was a major corruption issue that was just standing over the conversation. With what we have seen subsequently, there was reason for people to say that. At the time that that conversation was going on, I was at the World Bank, and one of the things that I did say was that it was necessary for the government to really make a strong case for how it was going to deal with this perception of corruption. And some people say, oh, you know, by removing the subsidy, you removed the corruption. Well, it wasn't quite that. There were many other rigidities that were corruption-driven around the pricing of the product.
So is this something you will support now, the removal of subsidies?
Oh, you know, I have maintained that we need to completely deregulate the sector. A full deregulation of the sector would enable us to identify which roles are best played by the market. The thing about removing the subsidy or trying to get an appropriate pricing is that if you did not do a full-scale, a wholesale sector change, what you would end up with is a price increase. And a price increase doesn't go deep. It's not structural. So over a period of time, you would get back to the same cycle of problem. And that was what I worried about when the government came in and adjusted the price slightly. I was calling for full deregulation of the sector so that the market would determine the incentives and therefore the entry of capital into the sector. The efficiency of the sector is very much tied to the way that the private sector assesses risks. Sometimes people worry about going full-scale market-driven for sectors. But what I would say to them is that it's especially our continent where we wrestle with systemic corruption, endemic corruption, we're better off allowing the market to discipline us. When the market forces discipline us, they figure a way to get us to a place, an outcome that is actually more egalitarian than some do-gooder government telling us that administratively they want to help all of us. They end up helping all of us to nosedive.
Just quickly now, let's talk about education. In